All right, everybody. If you want the most flexible way to diet that you can take with you anywhere and is personalized to your body, this is the episode for you. Stick around to the end where I take you through my pros and cons of this style of dieting. Let's get to it. So you want to know how this model is hyper flexible and tuned to every single person? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is called the hand model of dieting. So this is a portion control way of dieting, and it is scaled to your body because you're going to use your own hand. So how do we start using our hand? So number one, protein. We are going to measure protein with the palms of our hands. So everybody's palm, not including the fingers, flattened out, and about a deck of cards thick. So that is about a serving size of protein for each individual, based on their own body type. Number two, carbohydrates. So how are we going to measure carbohydrates? Well, both the starchy and the veggie variety, we are going to use our fist. So not the palm of our hands, but a closed, balled up fist. And that is going to be a single serving of our carbohydrates. Now, moving on to the sort of fibrous version, we are going to start out with 2 fistfuls of veggies, and that is going to be a serving size. Now, that's not going to be everyone's serving size. That is just a good starting point because we want our meals to be filling and with enough fiber. Let's say we want to add some taste, something, let's say like butter or peanut butter or something like that. We're going to start with a thumb-sized serving of peanut butter, almond butter, any kind of butter. Butter, if you wanted to melt that and put that on your veggies, a serving size is going to get you about 16 grams, and that'll be right around the size of your thumb. Obviously, it's going to be larger if you're a larger individual, but a thumb-sized serving is going to be a good place to start. So now we have sort of this composition to our meals. We have the palm-sized serving of meat. We have 1 fistful of starchy veggies. Now, this could be rice, this could be sweet potato, this could be quinoa, could be any number of things. And then we move on to our actual veggie, and we have 2 fistfuls of, let's say we have carrots and we have broccoli, or we have 2 fistfuls of broccoli if you're boring as sin like me. And then you maybe want to add in a fat of some kind. This could be some cheese if it's a highly fatty cheese. This could be some peanut butter, could be an oil, could be anything like that. So what kind of meal can we expect to put together with the hand model? Now, the reason I like the hand model is because you can use this at restaurants, you can use this at family outings, you can use this with your friends if they're throwing some kind of party or something like that, and you just kind of have to piece your meal together. This is especially useful if you know generally how many calories you want to take in, because the hand model, although not a perfect model, within a certain amount of error, you can put a pretty good number to how many calories that you're going to be taking in. Obviously, it's going to depend on your hand size. So let's have an example meal. You have 1 palm-sized serving of chicken breast. Now, if you're at a restaurant and you ask them to grill the chicken and don't add any seasoning or sauces or butters or cook it in oils or anything like that, you can be pretty sure it's going to be a pretty lean cut. 1 palm-sized serving is going to be around 100-ish grams, and that's probably going to be anywhere from 160-ish to around 200 calories for a palm-sized serving of protein. So that's a good start. The next thing that I like to move on to is my veggies. So I always like to look for something that is steamed, something served without butter or oils or anything like that. And if you ask nicely enough, most servers are willing to take your order of vegetables or whatever it is and see if the chef will cook it without oils, without butters, without any additional things that could cause you to go over on calories. So I like 2 fist-sized servings of veggies because it's going to have a decent amount of fiber and it's going to keep me filled up. Now we're going to move on to our starchy carbohydrates. One thing before we get going, I forgot to mention that I was going to try and keep this meal to around 650 to 700 calories. Why that? Well, generally speaking, I think around 4 meals a day is going to be a sweet spot for most people. And by keeping our meal sort of guesstimate at around 650 to 700 calories, times 4, on the high end, that's going to be about 2,800 calories for the day. And then on the low end, that's going to be around 2,500 calories for the day. So with the hand model not being a perfect tool, but a good tool nonetheless, there's going to be some variance in your calories, and that's okay. We're trying to master flexibility, not perfection. Back to the carbohydrates. So with the carbohydrates, I like to go a little bit lighter, especially when I'm dining at a restaurant or something like that. I generally go 1 to 1.5 fistfuls of carbohydrates. And if you think about your normal sized sweet potato or baked potato, that is going to be a decent amount of carbs. Plus, if you ask for it without butter or things like that, generally speaking, it's going to be extremely low in fat as well. Now, last thing, fats. Honestly, I generally opt to keep this off. I don't ask for oils or anything on the side, like if I'm doing a salad. I don't really do salad dressings or anything like that. You can do your fat-free versions and substitute and modify. Perhaps you only go 1 fist-size serving of carbohydrates so you can have a fat-free ranch or something like that. Yuck, though. But it's all right if you opt to keep the fat in, and maybe you add a dressing or something like that, or maybe even a pat of butter if you want to go that route. And to wrap up, the total on that meal is going to be around 40 to 50 grams of protein. You're going to have about 70 grams of carbohydrates, and depending on whether or not you added some fats, you're going to have around 12 or so grams of fat for a grand total of 650-ish calories. And in this case, ish is a good thing because we're just trying to get a close approximation. We're not trying to weigh out our food at a restaurant. So what are the pros and cons of this method of dieting? As I said in the beginning, it is going to scale to the individual's body. So let's say you don't keep track of your calories and you only use the hand model. Let's say if you're a 220-pound individual, your hands might be larger than mine, and that's okay. You're a larger individual than me. So it is going to scale to the person's body weight. Number 2, this is also going to standardize your guesswork. No longer are you just going to be eyeballing the things that are going onto your plate. You have the perfect model for measuring something with you all the time. Now, where the real magic of this comes in is if you can make adjustments. So the way that you use the hand model and make adjustments is to track your body weight daily. If you're going to be tracking your body weight daily, then if you are just using the hand model throughout your day for several days of the week, you can modify your carbohydrate intake, you can modify your fat intake based on what you see in the scale. So although there's going to be some variance in the amount of calories you take in, you can modify by adding a half a fistful of starchy carbohydrates if you are losing weight too fast, or if you are gaining weight, you can subtract out maybe a half a thumb of fat or subtract out some carbohydrates. Additionally, with something like preferences, like if you're a person who performs better with a little bit higher fats, you can add more fats and take out some carbohydrates. Or if you're a person who likes carbohydrates and likes to sort of keep the fats on the lower end, you can just choose to do that too. Really, really flexible and can be modified to your preference. So what are some of the trade-offs here? What are some of the cons? Well, it's going to be less accurate than weighing your food. However, I don't think all of us are in this to weigh our food forever. So this is a nice sort of step down from weighing all your foods and calculating all your macros down to the very gram. This is a nice way to reverse out as opposed to just stop tracking altogether. This is a sustainable model that can keep you going and keep you on track if you want to have a little bit more flexibility in your life and get away from tracking. Number 2, this model is going to be a little bit limited for complex foods and dishes. So for something like a lasagna or any dish that contains some combination of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, this is going to be not the best model for that. So for that, honestly, I would go into MyFitnessPal and grab some close approximation of whatever a cupful of that dish is. But that's just me. So this model doesn't really translate into dishes that have a high amount of complexity. And the last con is this isn't going to account for cooking variation. You can go to a restaurant and you can ask for the things that you want all day. You can go to your parents' house and ask for the things that you want all day. You can go to friends. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some variation in cooking. Now, I have found that variation to be slight, but that is another drawback to this model. All right. So now that you have that all down, I want you to go out and I want you to give this a shot. Go to your favorite restaurant and see what works for you. Is it a palm and a half size serving of protein? Is it 2 fists of starchy carbs? Is it 1 fistful of veggies? I don't know. It's entirely up to you to experiment. But if you can track your weight for a little bit and apply this model over several meals, across several days and over several weeks, I think you'll find that you'll be able to maintain your weight, maintain your gains, and have a little bit more flexibility in your life. So, I hope this episode was helpful, and I will see you all in the next episode for another mental skill, a review, or something else. Peace.